Greetings, true believers. It's your old pal Spider-Man, and we're back for a second video. This will be the last one I'll be doing, but this is kind of a special one. As you can see, I'm out here on the island of Diego Garcia in the middle of the Indian Ocean. And today we're going to be talking about traveling with your gear, traveling with your shave items. So some do's and some don'ts, some differences depending on where you're going, what you're doing, how you're traveling. I've done these videos before. I think I've done 2, maybe 3 of them in the past, specifically on traveling. But it's been a while, so if you didn't go back and look at those tutorials, here's one from a fresh perspective. Probably got a couple of new things in here, but it's most of my travel kit is about the same. Now, if you watched my earlier video, I have been out here for about a month, and therefore I did go ahead and bring out some full-size products. But we're not going to be talking about those today. We're going to be talking about what you bring if you're specifically traveling, and we're really talking about short-term travel. Again, long-term travel, I just went ahead and packed my full stuff, a few brushes, a few razors, you know, some full-size bottles of aftershave. But if you're just going away for the weekend, you don't really need to do that. So the first thing you want to think of is how long are you going? Are you going for a weekend? Are you going for a week? And how are you going? Are you going by car? Are you going by bus? Are you going by plane? Are you going by ship? And what kind of space limitations you're gonna have. So obviously, if space is no limitation, you're traveling by car, bring whatever you want. But if you're trying to keep your bag small, you're trying to keep the amount of stuff that you have compact, then you want to think about your stuff a little bit differently. You know, you might be going to visit some relatives or something. You're staying at the in-laws' house. You got a guest bathroom. You got limited counter space. You don't want to be bringing a whole bunch of stuff with you, and it's easier just to bring some small stuff. It is a little hot out here, so pardon me wiping the sweat from my brow. Baking in the sun. Tried to get some good lighting for this, so I hope it appears all right for you guys. But you know, one of the biggest things is if you're traveling by plane. Aircraft are going to have the biggest restrictions on what you can and can't bring with you. Now, if you're going for a week or even a weekend and you're checking a bag, no problem. Bring whatever you want, throw it in your check bag. It's no problem whatsoever. Obviously, do recommend if you're bringing bottles of liquid, put them in a Ziploc bag. Tape the cap shut first, throw it in a Ziploc bag. That way, you know, you got cabin pressure changes. Liquids are going to expand and contract, or the air pockets, rather, is what expands and contracts. And so it could, if you got a loose lid, it could pop the lid. Some of the pressure, if the bottle's upside down, the air pressure is pushing the liquid down, it could leak out of the seal. So to prevent leakage, try to tape up that top. And just in case it does, throw it in a Ziploc bag. And then you'll be good to go. Now, if you are only going for a day trip or a weekend trip and you're not packing heavy, you just are taking a carry-on with you, now we got some limitations. You technically cannot bring with you DE blades. You can bring a DE razor, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but technically the DE blades are not allowed on the aircraft. So what can you do? You can go, you know, as soon as you land, hit a Walgreens, hit a CVS, just grab a cheap pack of Persona blades or Dorco blades. Just get something local that's easy. If you know where you're going, you know ahead of time, you could put a couple of blades in an envelope, send them to the hotel, care of yourself. Just, you know, contact your hotel and say, hey, I need to send something to myself ahead of time. How do I do that? Get their address and figure out how to do that. You can get blades waiting at the hotel for you, ready to go. Other than that, I would suggest bringing like a Track 2 or maybe an Atra. Or, you know, if you want to get all crazy, you can go ahead and grab your Gillette Fusion, your Mach 3, whatever. But me personally, if I'm going to bring a cartridge razor, I'd rather bring a Track 2. That's just my preference. I enjoy the Track 2. I don't enjoy the Mach 3 or anything beyond that. 2 blades is okay for me. The Track 2 does not have a pivoting head, so it is sort of akin to using a DE razor. So if you're used to a DE, then the Track 2 will be very familiar to you as far as how it shaves. If you haven't used one, pick one up. They're pretty great. You can get some cheap ones on eBay, the vintage ones. You can get the bump fighter handle at the drugstore, and it still uses the same Track 2 cartridges. Also, the Atra is the step up, which does have the pivoting head, which I will use from time to time, but I'm not really a fan of the pivoting head. I'd rather it be stationary, so it's more closer to a DE. What else? Yeah, if you're a straight user, yeah, you're kind of screwed when it comes to taking just a carry-on bag. You really you need to put that in a checked bag, which you can bring a straight, and you can bring a strop, you can bring whatever you need for your straights if that's the way you want to do. But if you're traveling, it's only a couple of days, maybe if you just forego the straights, you know, and switch over to a DE for those couple of days. So it'll be a lot easier for you. Now, products. If you are bringing liquids onto an aircraft, they need to be in smaller containers. Technically speaking, the rule is 3 ounces. Well, that's what they say, right? 3, 3, and 1, right? So you're allowed 3. Well, I forget what the 3, 3, and 1 is. I think that's something else. Never mind. But you're allowed 3 ounces, and all your liquids have to fit in a quart-sized bag. So technically, if you look it up, the rule is actually 100 milliliters, which is 3.4 ounces. So technically speaking, a full-size bottle of aftershave, or some full-size bottles of aftershaves, like I think your Aqua Velva, is a 100 milliliter bottle. So technically speaking, you could bring a full bottle of Aqua Velva with you. I don't know if this is cutting out the... my screen went blank on me, so I don't know what the lighting's doing on me. But anyways, but chances are, if you're going for a week, even if you're going for a month, you're not going to use a full bottle of aftershave. So you want to just really decant that into something small. Whoa, I just threw that all over the place. But that was a hand sanitizer bottle that was partially full of witch hazel. Hand sanitizer bottles are great. That one's a little bit bigger than the ones that I like to see. The other ones that I think that are like a 1 or 1.5. I think it's a 1.5 ounce bottle. You know, we're in times right now where we're using a lot of hand sanitizers, so if you can find the little sample bottles and just use those to refill your big bottle, and then you've got a couple of really nice handy sample bottle size to use. I really like the hand sanitizers. They got a flip top lid, they got a little teeny pour spout, so for aftershaves and witch hazel, they're great. Another thing that I really like using, and this is going to depend on what you can actually find, but these are some of my favorite. These are hotel shampoo bottles. They are 0.8 ounces, and this is full of skin bracer aftershave, and this is the perfect amount for a week. I mean, this will last me all week. So really just one of these is sufficient. I've got a little bit of some other aftershave in this one that I've been using. So the smaller bottle that you can find, the better as far as taking your liquids go. Because especially if you're trying to get some variety, you want a few different bottles, you can fit all these in a quart-sized bag really, really easily. Now when it comes to the actual shave, well, I'll say one more thing. Some companies do offer aftershave samples, and Sterling is a great one. I've ordered a few samples, so this aftershave sampler has tons of aftershave in it that would last me the entire trip out here, as well as the sample of the cologne. So these are great things. If you just order some samples from your favorite artisan, if they offer them, these are great to bring along. As far as the actual shave goes now, first of all, you're gonna need a brush, right? Well, I like to get a small brush. This is a little pill bottle, and I've got the Maggard synthetic 19 millimeter brush. I like the synthetic if you're traveling because they dry really fast. And you really don't need to worry about if you shave in the morning and then immediately throw your stuff into your kit to pack up on the last day. You really don't need to worry about the moisture so much on the synthetics as you do the natural hair brushes. And this one is just perfect size. I love this brush. If you can get one to fit inside a pill bottle, just drill a few small holes in the bottom and the side, and that way if you need to just close it up, it can still air dry, and usually these things are perfectly dry by the time I get home. Now for soap, there's a couple options. You can bring yourself a shave stick. Now I did move this Arco stick into a roll-up container, and you could do that, or you can just bring the stick of Arco by itself, or whatever shave stick you prefer. These are really good, really easy to use when you're traveling. You don't require a bowl. You just smear it on wet your face, smear it on a little bit, get some soap on there, take your brush, start lathering, easy peasy. The other thing I would suggest is samples. Now this is a sterling sample that I put in this little tin here. Got this tin from the dollar store, 2 for $1. So 50 cents for a little tin, and you throw your sterling sample right in there. It fits perfectly. If you like getting sterling samples, this is a perfect case for it. But any other company, well, I know they don't all, but a lot of companies also offer little sample containers of soap. So here's a couple of typical little sample size soaps. So you can just take these and either smear a little bit of it right on your brush, you can smear it right on your face, or bring a bowl with you and bowl lather. You could palm lather. These are all options that you can use when you're traveling if you're away from your normal stuff. One option that I really like right now, and even though I'm not a bowl lather, if I'm using those little samples, a lot of times I will just go ahead and bowl lather. I like these collapsible lather bowls. Now this isn't a lather bowl per se. This, if you can see the little doggy in the bottom, this is a dog food, dog water bowl. Made to kind of just clip on your belt, take with you if you're walking your dog. You got your water bottle, dog needs a drink, you just pop this out, pour a little water in there, dog's good to go. Same thing for shaving. There is actually a little bit of texture to this silicone here, so this whips up a perfect lather with ease. Now I know a lot of companies are starting to sell these. I know Sterling sells one of these for maybe like $6-8, I forget. But it's got these big nubbies in the bottom, which for me, I personally am not a fan of the nubbies. I think it's gonna start wearing on your brush over time. A lot of people say it helps build the lather. I've had no issue building the lather in this, so personally I don't see that it's going to help me that much, and if it does, it's not enough to warrant it for what I personally believe will be wear and tear on my brush over time. And this one is a little bit more economical. I actually bought a 3-pack of these from Amazon for $6. So these cost me, I think it was actually less, it was 5 something. So this actually cost me just under $2. And again, it's great, it folds up, it's super thin, it fits inside your dopp kit, no problem. And that's one thing I did not talk about yet, your dopp kit. You definitely want some sort of bag to hold your stuff in. Now it can be a simple leather bag or canvas bag like this one with just a zipper, and it's wide open, so you can just throw all your stuff in there. Now if you do have some glass bottles, I don't recommend bringing glass, but if you got glass bottles, you're gonna have to take some precautions. If you're just throwing your razor in there, again, you wanna wrap it up maybe in a washcloth or something to protect it, or if you got a specific razor holder, that'll help protect it. I personally like this one. It's got a little ring on it so I can hang it on a hook or over the door, and then it's got a couple of compartments in here, some zippers so I can organize, separate my stuff, and then again this bottom area is just open to throw all the odds and ends in there. Now the actual shave. I love this. I talk about this all the time. This is my travel razor. This is a gumball case, but basically it's the same size as an Altoids tin. I love using these, and inside it fits perfectly a Gillette Tech and a Tuck of razors. I've got a little teeny sheet of foam in the top and the bottom just to prevent it from jiggling around. I've got these silica gel packet, which when you're putting your stuff away wet, this will help take the moisture out. but it's real easy. Pull the razor handle out, screw it into the head, and now your razor is good to go. I just pack this with the razor blade right in it, and then if I'm shaving and I'm like, oh, that one's getting a little rough, I've got the other tuck here so I can just grab a fresh one out. This packs up so easily. Everything is flat, unlike if you're packing a TTO razor. You know, obviously you've got the head and the handle. You've got possibility to damage if that breaks into something or pops into something or whatever. This is completely flat. It's not jiggling around in here hardly at all, and it fits easily, nice and flat inside this compartment here. So that's my personal preference, is to get a 3-piece razor. The other reason is if you're traveling, I like the tech. The tech is cheap. You can easily get a tech for $5 to $10 off of eBay. If you're hunting around at antique stores or get real lucky on eBay, you can find one for $2 or $3, no problem. The tech, I think, is a very underrated razor. I think most people that use the tech can get a very good shave out of it. I love the tech, and I think it is just a great all-around razor and perfect for travel. It's one of the smallest razors there is. It's just as far as being lightweight, compact. It doesn't have a super thick handle, doesn't have a long handle. It fits easily in those compartments. You can get specific travel razors, you know, the old Gillette travels with the super stubby handle, and honestly, I don't even think that there's much point in bringing one of those. You're saving this much space and hardly any weight. So really, is there a point to bringing that? Not really, I don't think so. I've used one a couple times, it doesn't really do it for me. Some people like them, some people enjoy them, that's fine. I just prefer the longer handle. I get more control out of it, and it's just a more comfortable shave. So, kind of rambled on there for a bit, but I think I covered just about everything. You know, just remember, if you're traveling through the airport, make sure you stay up to date on TSA requirements. Make sure you're abiding by those. You don't want to cause any incidents. I have had some incidents in the past where I was bringing, I went to a conference in Michigan and decided to stop at Maggard's there in Adrian, and bought a bunch of soap and was going to bring it back with me. And TSA flagged me when they scanned my carry-on. It was all in a carry-on, and they're like, yeah, these are more than 3 ounces. I'm like, but they're soap, so they're not a liquid. And they're like, well, they still technically apply. I'm like, well, can you explain that to me? Because it's not a liquid, gel, aerosol, everything that you say in your little briefing, it's none of those. Granted, some of them were a crope, so they were a softer soap, but it's still not a liquid, still not a gel. You can open it up, and obviously it's not going to pour out. You can see it's a solid. So I kind of talked my way through that. Luckily, didn't have to surrender any of that stuff, but there is some issues. So the last thing I will say is, if you are traveling with any stuff in your bag, give yourself extra time at the airport, definitely, because you know, if you're trying to take stuff that you think might be iffy, I'm sure you think it's fine, but the TSA agent doesn't know as much about this shaving stuff as we do. And, you know, they might be going off of bad information, they might be going off of assumptions, they might be going off of the fact that some TSA agent told them that this certain thing was not allowed. And in their brain, that thing's the same as your thing. Well, they're not. So, you know, they might be going off of bad information, misinformation, just a misunderstanding. So definitely, if you're going to be traveling with your stuff in your carry-on, just arrive early, give yourself some extra time, just in case there's any issue, you've got time to work through it. You don't want to be sitting there at TSA trying to explain why your razor that has no blade in it is fine to bring when they were told they were supposed to confiscate safety razors. And you don't want to be 10 minutes away from boarding at your gate when you're doing that, because then you might end up losing your razor or having to forfeit it just so you can make your plane, and no one wants to do that. And I will say that's another reason to bring a tech, because they're cheap, and if you lose one, you break one, gets stolen, whatever happens to that razor, you can replace the tech really easily. You don't want to be bringing your $100 Fat Boy with you, your $200 Feather with you, and have something go wrong with that, something happen to it that you can't recover from. It's much easier, much better to lose a $5 to $10 tech than it is a $200 razor. So with that, I'll wrap this up. If you've got any other questions, something I did not cover because I tend to ramble and I tend to forget things, and maybe there was a point that was in my brain that initially I was going to cover and I didn't, so I apologize. But if you think of a question that you need answered, I have traveled a lot. I've traveled to lots of different countries. I've traveled all over the United States. I've brought my shave gear. I've ran into probably anything you're going to run into. So if there's something I didn't cover and you're curious about it, please make a comment in the post below, or hit me up on the Shaving Cadre forum and ask away. More than happy to give up some knowledge. And you know, if you ask a question, I'll be like, wow, that is a good question. You may ask a question that I never even thought of, but I'll give you a best answer that I can in that. So this is Spider, and I'm signing out from Diego Garcia. You're not gonna see this until I get back home, but that will be in a few days, because there's no way I can upload this video here with my slow internet. So I'll have to wait until I get home. But if you're seeing this, then I'm back home safe, and we are good to go. So enjoy your shaves and travel safe, my friends. Later.